So the first thing that we're going to go over, well, we're going to go over everything. Basically, this is how you make money mining in Elite Dangerous. Now, mining is one of those professions that not a lot of people do, because in order to actually get any good cash flow out of it, you have to know what you're doing. It's dangerous and it's expensive to start up because you need the correct equipment. You can't just throw a pair of mining lasers on a Sidewinder and actually make any amount of money. You're just not going to, it's just not going to work. So, what we're going to do is first we're going to look at our build and then we're going to talk about our location a bit. What I'm using is a Type 9 Heavy. For a lot of newer players out there, it's a rather expensive ship. It's about 70 million credits for just the hull of the ship. It's probably going to run you about 90 with everything all together. But you can do this in a Type 6. You can do this. I've seen people do this in an Adder. Like, you can do it in a Cobra. What I would recommend if you're first starting to get into mining is get about 20M and then start off with a keelback. I think the keelback is actually a really good initial mining ship because of the amount of hard points you can have on it, and its internals line up to just make it very efficient. In fact, it's more efficient than this in some ways, because with this I'm like waiting around, waiting for my limpets to pick up everything sometimes. With the keelback, you're not going to be doing that. So it's the most cost efficient. What I'm running here is one Class 2 mining laser, two Class 1 mining lasers. I probably should use a better power distributor, but I'm lazy and I don't want to fly back to get a new one. And then I have two collector limpet controllers and one prospector limpet controller. With a prospector limpet controller, you really only need the 1A, and you can just put it in the smallest internal spot in your ship. For the controller limpets, they only have Class 1, Class 3, Class 5, etc. And each time you go up a class, it allows you to have one extra controller limpet. You really have to think about if it's worth it to have an extra one versus like the extra cargo space. For this ship, I just decided not to. I probably could run 6 or 3 so I could have 6 limpets. I probably should be doing that, but I kind of threw this together. With the keelback, you can run like 5. So you can run 2 Class 3s and 1 Class 1, and that works out really nice. I also have mine launchers on here because I'm hardcore and I don't like being interdicted. The things that are the most important with mining are your power distributor is very important because it allows you to be efficient, basically. If you have a shitty power distributor, you're not going to be able to get anything in any reasonable amount of time, and you're not going to be making any money. I also would very highly recommend shields. They don't have to be strong, but sometimes these asteroids, you see how they spin and stuff? They'll fucking clock you when you're not paying attention, and you really don't want one of these to just smash into your ship and do a lot of damage to it. I've died because of this. So, yeah, you can just throw like the smallest Class D shield generator on there. It really doesn't matter, but it's something to absorb the impact from just you making a mistake or being unlucky. And that's really it. Everything else is kind of unimportant. If you have the utility points, I would recommend point defense and chaff. Chaff to keep people from killing you, and point defense to keep people from like hatch breakering you, which doesn't really happen very often, but it's really funny to see them try and then have their limpets get shot down. Everything else is not really important, so we're going to stop talking about that. The next thing we're going to look into is location and what you're actually going to be looking for. Traditionally, as soon as this actually loads, traditionally mining functions on looking for pristine metallic rings, which, if we actually look at this, gotta scroll past all this. Oh wow, I'm in the wrong menu. Okay, so we are looking for. Oh, I am bad at this game. There we go. See, we want this. We want pristine reserves, Jura 7 ring A, metallic. That's what we want right there, pristine metallic. You can also do this with ice filled if you're like looking for, you know, ice diamonds and shit, but this is more cost efficient because you don't have to dig through the entire asteroid belt looking for one thing. You can pick up a lot of like moderately valuable things and then a few really valuable things and just ignore everything else, and it's just faster. Let's see. So a good way to find this is, well, you can just Google it. There's lots of lists for this. I would try and find some system that is fairly close to yours. What you also want, ideally, is a system that the economy of the system is based somewhat off of mining. So if we look at this, we want to just sort of... If we look at this, you see how the economy here is more terraforming, which is actually kind of weird. But, well, this is a bad example. Basically, you're looking for red lines that are going away from you. So, because of this, what you want is this actually might be a really good system for this then. What you're looking for is these red economic trade routes to be going away from the system you're in, and then you want to go to the system that they're at in order to actually sell your stuff, because what these mean is that the system is exporting the minerals that it is harvesting and selling them somewhere else for a higher price. So if you sell them in system, you're going to get ripped off, and you don't really want to do that. So now I'm going to actually go over the two ways that we do this. We have our asteroid here. We're going to name him Chuck the Asteroid. So oh, I have a fine. That's nice. So there are two ways to do this. I would definitely recommend not actually going to a resource extraction site if you want to extract resources, because you're just asking to get fucked if you do that. There's fucking pirates everywhere. It's just, you don't want to do it. So the best way to actually enter one of these rings is to fly over it and then very slowly nose down at low throttle until you're looking straight at it at about 90 degrees, and then just kill your speed. You'll drop to about 30 kilometers a second and let your ship just float into the ring. You'll get an emergency drop, but it won't do any damage to your ship, and it will put you in the middle of ass and nowhere where no one is. And that's exactly where you want to be. So what we're going to do is talk about technique real quick. There are two ways to do this. The first one is better for ships with smaller cargo capacity, so if you're starting mining, this is probably what you want to do. The second one is for big ships like mine, so that's what I'll be doing most of the time. The first one is if you come up to an asteroid that you want to prospect.
Capacity exceeded.
Yeah. So we come up to an asteroid that we want to prospect. What we're going to do is we're going to just zap it real quick. Come on. Wow. There we go. Okay, and until we get one fragment falling off. How it works is basically depending on the grade of resource of the asteroid, they'll drop between 5 and 10 resource fragments. However, if you hit them with a prospector drone, it multiplies whatever remaining fragments are in the asteroid by 4. So what you want to do is, for smaller cargo capacity ships, you're not hauling around loads of prospect drones that you're wasting. You zap it, get one fragment to fall off. If it's something you want, then you prospect drone it. Lock onto the prospect drone so your collectors don't get all confused, and then fucking just zap it until all the stuff falls out, and then you pick it up. For bigger ships, we're just going to prospect it because we don't care about 100 credit prospect drones. Like, I just don't care. And it's, with my 400 something ton cargo capacity, it's easier for me to just figure out exactly how many I need on average and do this, and then you get more fragments this way. So, you know, there is a little bit of an upkeep to this, but it's not to the point where if you do it incorrectly with the correct setup, you're going to be losing money in the way that trading is. You can buy an expensive trade ship and, like, lose money if you're stupid, but with a mining ship, that's not really going to happen. Once you actually have the correct setup and you kind of understand exactly what you're doing, then you'll turn a profit. Just this, being good at it just determines how much of a profit you'll make. So we're gonna just very fucking slowly fly over here. So we're gonna look at you. What do you have for us today, sir? One of the things that I would recommend is that your collector limpets are stupid. They will fly into the side of this asteroid trying to pick up a fragment. So what we want to do is get on the axial point of the asteroid's rotation, which is like right about here. Ooh. Yeah, please don't hit me. I don't really want to. So we're gonna just sort of go over to our second fire group and go
Programming limpet drone.
Programming limpet drone. And then that spits that out.
Cargo scoop deployed.
Doink.
Prospector limpet engaged.
Silver galleite. This isn't really worth our time, so we're gonna keep moving. What you're looking for, there are the big four of mining. We're gonna talk about that while we just fly over there. Basically, what you're looking for, ignore this osmium, this is because I'm lazy. You want platinum, you want painite, painite is the best, you want palladium, which is okay, and then you want gold. Those are all fine, If you really want to, you can also pick up osmium, but you don't have to. It's not super bad. Osmium is a profit of about 7k a ton, whereas painite is like 40k a ton. So, you know, you obviously want painite, but it's rare. That's what we're kind of looking for, is we're going to try and find a prime asteroid for mining, and if it's not this one, then I'm just going to fucking zap this one to show you basically what I'm doing. This is not in any way like super exciting. It's a bit tedious, in all honesty, but some people really like it because it can be relaxing, I suppose. So we're just going to kind of float up here to the point of rotation. Kill our forward thrust. You can do this with flight assist off, but I like kind of don't want to fly this ship with flight assist off because it's 1,000 tons and I don't want to hit something. So we're going to just sort of program the limpet drone. Out you go.
Prospector limpet engaged.
Gold. Okay, this is acceptable, I suppose. Not really, but yeah. If you see the bottom left corner, it has the prospector percentages of the asteroid. If you have one of the big four that is above probably about 20%, it's basically worth your time, but you really ideally want 25 to 35 to 40 around there, or you would get an asteroid that has more than one of them at like 25%. That's the best. Those will make you a lot of money. But a lot of mining is just flying between asteroids looking for stuff, which is why people can think it's boring and not a lot of people do it. But if you know how, it's quite profitable. So what we're going to do now, between these charges, because it's more efficient, we're going to pop all our collectors, because I, let them die out. Oh shit, oops. Oh, that was the wrong key. Well, we're going to prospect it again, I guess. It doesn't really matter. Make sure that when you're popping collectors, you're either locked onto the limpet drone that is your prospector or nothing at all, because otherwise they will be stupid, fly only to the object that you're picking up with them, and then destroy themselves after they reach it. So you'll end up wasting them if you're not paying attention, which is kind of dumb, and I wish they would take it out. But I suppose it's useful for picking up, meta alloys or something actually worthwhile. So you can see that it has a material content low down there. I believe that has some correlation to the number of fragments the asteroid will actually give you, but I actually do not have accurate numbers for that. I tend to just ignore it. I pay more attention to the big four than anything else.
Deploy cargo hatch.
Oh, whoops.
Limpet drone error. Deploy cargo hatch.
Yeah, it's going to tell me that like 4 times probably. Oh, there we go. I'm going to get rid of this osmium. Micromanaging your refinery is kind of irritating, but it's not really worth it to buy a bigger refinery. People will tell you that it is, slap them, because they're stupid. You don't really want to actually get bigger than the Class A, like 1 refinery or 2. This is a Class 2A, because the only thing that increases is the amount of power that it eats and the number of bins that you have. The more bins you have, the lazier you can be, but it also means that you'll technically be making less money. So we're going to just scoop this up real quick, and then we will bail. So let's talk about ship efficiency. Ideally, you would have a ship that mines just as fast as it collects. That will minimize the amount of time that you are not prospecting for new materials. This ship is actually pretty bad because I have to sit around here and do nothing for a little while my limpet drones just sort of pick everything up. A way that you can kind of encourage them to do it faster is if you look at my sensors down there. Oop. Okay, you see these fragments? Yeah, that's what we want to see. So you want to fly over them and put them underneath yourself, and then put the ship at a perpendicular angle to them. This will mean the limpet drones can more quickly pick them up, so you can kind of get around this. This isn't extremely important, but it does sort of matter. So, I mean, you kind of, you can care if you want to, basically. And that's basically all I have to teach you guys. More people should do this because it's actually really interesting. If you like geology anyways, and no one does it, so it's easy money.